Good morning. So good to be in church. It's so good to be here with you as we're beginning a beautiful Christmas season. As December it got here before I knew it. I mean, it just snuck up on me. But as we're starting the Christmas season, I wanted to talk to you about parts of the Christmas story that are at the beginning. And so I want to talk to you about Elizabeth and Mary and, when they found out, to be expecting a baby and, kind of the early parts of the Christmas story as we're getting along. Because as Christmas gets started, we've got a lot of things that we're doing in the beginning of the season. But I like to think about, what was going on in the early parts of the Christmas journey. Looking forward to that next week. So you've got two amazing announcements of pregnancies in the Christmas story. You've got Jesus, the Messiah, and you've got John the Baptist. And so Mary and Elizabeth are these two ladies who become pregnant, and they're connected. So not only are they friends, but they're also relatives. And it's pretty interesting how their stories intertwine and how they're so important. Our stories connect to other people and people that are our friends, that are family, and it's really important to trust the Lord and to follow Him and see how well He connects us with other people. And I just love how each of these women are highlighted to the other. So let's start out, and I'll talk to you a little bit about Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, she doesn't get the announcement announced to her, but actually the angel comes to her husband and tells him while he's working in the church. And so her husband is Zechariah. And I'm not saying this, but the word says that they were old. So it says that Zechariah and Elizabeth were well past the age of having kids. And he's at work, working in the church, and doing his service there. And at the side of the altar, an angel appears. It's the angel Gabriel who appears on assignment to give him a message, to speak to him. Really amazing. And so the angel tells Zechariah, the husband of Elizabeth, that his wife is going to bear a son, and that this son that they're going to have is to be called John, and that he's going to be great. He's going to have a destiny. He's going to have a purpose. He's going to actually prepare the way for the Lord. And he said, the angel says, don't worry, your prayer has been answered. So that is so amazing. But what shocks me is how Zechariah responds. You've got this angel who comes and proclaims this promise, this announcement to him. And Zechariah, he's unsure about it. He's not quite prepared for it. He's about to have John the Baptist who prepares the way, and he's unsure. He's unprepared. So Zechariah, he gets the announcement to him. And because he's unsure, the angel says that he's going to have a time where he's going to be silent. And I think that is that's a time for him to prepare for what's coming next. But Zechariah, so after after this, let me read you just a couple highlighted verses throughout here. So this account, all the details of this are found in Luke 1. And so I'll just be jumping around a little bit as we go through this story in Luke. But I'll read you the quote from Zechariah. Zechariah 18, Zechariah asks the angel after this beautiful announcement comes to him. And in verse 18, he says, "How can I be sure of this? I am old, and my wife is well along in years." So Zechariah, the reason I say he's unsure is because the way that the story plays out, it's not just questioning, but something wasn't right because he ends up being in a time of silence. So the Lord had to work on something within him because of his response. But he comes up with, how can I be sure of this? And then he says the two reasons why. So what I thought about was, he's well along in years, and, you don't get to that position without having the prayers. So, the angel is there answering his prayer. So he's prayed and prayed and prayed, but something along the journey kind of made it to where he felt like he was in a position where it was too late. Let's learn from this story that, sometimes time goes by and sometimes prayers don't get answered, but let's not get to the point of it's too late, to where all of a sudden we're not sure about the answer. I want to prepare the way for the miracle. I want to prepare the way in my heart to where I need to make sure I still have room for faith, that I still have room to believe. I know it's been a while. I know by now I'm feeling like I'm older, but I used to pray, oh Lord, I want my family's name to be great. Oh Lord, I want great things. Oh Lord, tears stream from my eyes when I sing this song about the generation after generation. But by now, I've kind of given up. Let's not get to that point. Let's be sure of God. Let's not be unsure of the promise. God is faithful. God is faithful. When he makes a promise to you, he's faithful to fulfill it. And sometimes we can get old. We can get old in our faith and we need to be renewed. But, sometimes we just need some quiet time, just some time where we can, get it back. Get things back in line, get things back in a place of faith, get our mindset right, get our hearts recalibrated right. So after this season, so Zechariah, it says after his time of service, he returned home. So now this is the beginning of a silent period for him. So he returns home, and in the story, it talks about how he's using signs and, he's communicating. He's just in a silent mode. So he gets home and he's quiet. But when he gets home, it says that his wife got pregnant. And this miraculous thing happened. And he's stepping out of the way and just allowing God to work in his life. And so Elizabeth gets pregnant. And then, interestingly, as Elizabeth gets pregnant, it says that she is secluded for 5 months. So she has a time of her own meditation time, her own, not a quiet time, but a time where she's in seclusion. So not only is her husband being quiet, but also she's in seclusion for 5 months. And then something happens the 6th month. In the 6th month is when Mary gets the announcement that she is to have the Messiah. And so she is to be pregnant, and she's a virgin. So she gets this miraculous announcement to her. And so you've got this beautiful, miraculous encounter with Elizabeth. And now Mary gets this. Now, the way we start to see these stories intertwine is when the angel comes to Mary to announce that Mary is to be expecting, when she's overshowered by the Holy Spirit, to be expecting Jesus. He says, anything is impossible. Even your relative Elizabeth, even in her old age, is pregnant and expecting a child. So all of the sudden, in her seclusion, Elizabeth, and with her husband, in this time with her, all of a sudden, they're a testimony to Mary, who gets this great announcement to her. And so in the midst of Elizabeth's time, she's a testimony to her friend, and their stories are starting to be brought together. And so let me read to you. So in verse 26, I wanted to point something out. Verse 26 is the beginning where it says, the birth of Jesus is foretold. And it starts out and it says, in the 6th month, God sent the angel Gabriel to Mary, the virgin. In the 6th month is the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy. And so, see, these stories are combined, they're connected. And so as Mary hears that her relative Elizabeth is expecting, we'll jump down, and all of a sudden, Mary is provoked to go and visit Elizabeth. She's been told about her friend having a miraculous pregnancy. So in verse 39, it says, at that time, Mary got up and hurried to the town where Elizabeth was staying. And she went and greeted her. At that time, right when she heard of it, she was inspired. And she went. And when Mary went to see Elizabeth, they had a miraculous encounter. So you've got Mary and Elizabeth. You've got two women with miraculous pregnancies. You've got Mary carrying the Messiah. You've got Elizabeth carrying the forerunner of the gospel, John the Baptist, who prepares the way for the Lord. And when it says that when they got together, that Elizabeth, when she receives the greeting, John the Baptist leaps in her womb, and she proclaims a greeting to Mary. And so their stories are combined, and Elizabeth starts speaking a blessing over Mary, and completely is filled with the Holy Spirit, and is able to say, that she's in the presence of the one carrying the Messiah. So she has this spiritual discernment. She's just walking in this gifting, but she's filled with the Holy Spirit. And right after that is where we see Mary break out into song, and she does, and as we know, as the Magnificat. But as the 6th month was coming, and Elizabeth was presented as a testimony, and as what was going on to her was highlighted. That she showed that she was, even in her place, she was a testimony. So I just wanted to let you know that no matter what state you're at, you can be a testimony to someone else. When they see God moving in your life, you can be a testimony of the Lord and how he highlights people, how Elizabeth and Mary were highlighted to each other from above. Now, isn't that the case sometimes in life, that we will look out and the Lord will like highlight someone to us, and we just have to follow the leadings of the Lord, and as He plants on our heart someone highlight, maybe that's someone's testimony that we need to be connected with. It says that after they got together and made this connection, that they spent 3 months together. I'm talking about Mary and Elizabeth. In the midst of all of this, they took the time to build the relationship together, and they really needed it, because they really needed the capacity of what they could carry, the capacity of what they were both about to birth was greater than what they could just do on their own. They needed to grow, and they grew together, and they invested 90 days together to be with each other. When's the last time that you spent 3 months really pouring into one of your close friends? You know, just really just day after day, just keep connecting with them and keep connecting with them. You know, that bond that they created, it lasts a lifetime. And, you know, let us learn from these stories, things that we can do in our life to connect with each other. And, you know, just to be able to have that connection. And then when they walked out their miracle, when they walked out their deliveries, they were prepared, they were ready, and they needed to be, because what the miracle that God had for them was more than they could bear at first, but they grew after they were together, just like I see all of you growing. So let's grow this season together. I love you.